Well, guys, we came on in here this morning at daylight. We finished digging the rest of this row right here. Had video footage of it. Somehow or other it got deleted. I don't know. But we got this dug. We finished up plowing and fertilizing the white okra, trying to get some of the grass off of it, and it looks like it's dying pretty quick along the edges there, so that's a good thing. And we're going to head inside and we're going to look at the storage, because a lot of y'all have asked us about how do we store our Irish potatoes here. How are we going to store this many Irish potatoes? And you know, it seems like a lot, but in reality, we've dug, what, 5-gallon bucketfuls? I think.
Pretty close.
Right at 5 of them. And when you get in and see how many it actually is, I think if you figure out, of course, now we still got half a row to go. I think you'll see that if you figure how many potatoes you actually eat a year, you'll be surprised. It probably will just barely be enough to get us through a year and have a few left over. Let's go up here to the storage facility and let's check out what we're doing. Well, here we are in our storage facility here. It is a climate controlled storage facility. We have these bread trays that was given to us by a subscriber years ago, and boy, I love these things. I wish I had 3 or 4 times this many of them, you know, because these things work just wonderful for storing potatoes. Now, I built this little wooden rack system here for it to sit on, so that I don't have to be all the way on the floor with it. You know, it's about 16 inches up off the floor. Now, what we've done here is after we've brought the potatoes in out of the field, we don't wash them. We leave them just like they are in the field. And we come here, and I'm going to try to find you something here to look at. We pick up our potatoes as we're going through them, and you see these places like right here and right here? That's fire ant damage. The fire ants bore holes into these potatoes because they're looking for moisture. And when they do that, this potato will not store well. In other words, let's just say in a month, you'll come up here and you'll cut into this potato right here, and you'll have 2 black spots going down in this potato here, and it won't last long. So what we've done here is we have a whole tray right here that as we put these up here, we hand pick every one of them and look at them to make sure there's no blemishes on them or anything, no fire ant holes or anything. And we put them up here to store well in here. Now it's about 76 degrees in here, 77 degrees. I know it's not ideal for Irish potatoes, but that's the temperature in here. And it's completely dark in here. When we close the doors, these are blackout shades and everything is completely dark in here. And we save, like, these here that have the fire ant bites on them. These are the first ones we use as Wanda's cooking dinner or supper or whatever, or if we having family over, or if we want to just give some to the family. These are the ones that we give away first, or we use first, because they will go bad the quickest. Now, in about 2 weeks from now, these here, the skin on them will be a lot tougher and a lot thicker, and they should store a lot better. Now, we have a bunch of them up at the camp that's way littler than these right here. They're kind of like little small ones. Those don't store very well because they get really soft really fast. They like dehydrate really quickly, and they get kind of rubbery and spongy, and the skin on them gets a little wrinkly looking. So what we do is we go ahead and we cook with those first, so that we can get them used up while these are in storage. Now, this is 5-gallon bucketfuls of them. And now, this tray right here, back in the fall, I planted some of our fingerling potatoes, and we had a freeze, you know, lots of freezes. We had snow come through, all that kind of stuff. We kept cutting them off with a hoe, but evidently when the snow come, it froze the ground pretty bad. So we lost everything we had planted. Well, I came in and replanted this spring with more potatoes on the same beds that I had made for last year. And guys, I was digging deep in the ground, and these things were down like this deep in the ground, like 12 inches deep in the ground. We started digging these things up, and me and Ms. Wanda was like, we still have a few French fingerlings left here. So there's not many of them, but there is a few. Now these fingerlings we have here, we don't have many. There might be about 40 or 50 of them right here. Those won't be for eating. That's sad to say, this year we won't get to eat none of them. And the original stock from this came from Hoss Tool when we originally got them. And we still have them for many, many years from then. And a lot of y'all are going to ask also, what variety is these potatoes that we have here? These came from our local feed store. They are the red Lasotas. They are a determinate type potato. They're not an indeterminate. It doesn't, once you throw the dirt to them one time, there's no need to keep coming back, putting them on. These are not the kind of potatoes you want to buy to put in a container. And as they grow up, you keep adding dirt. And as they grow up, you keep adding dirt like in a big bucket or a barrel or something. This is a determinant. They only make one cluster of potatoes at the base of it, and that's it. You don't get them all the way up the stem if you keep piling dirt on. So let you know that up front so you don't make that mistake. But now behind me here is a stainless steel tray system with fiberglass things in it here. I got this from a friend who actually got it from a military base, and I'm thinking about using this to store our sweet potatoes in when we start digging them to cure them. This is all the trays that I got with it. I wished I'd have got enough to do a lot more of it, but this is all I could actually get. So I'm gonna have to come in and take me some plywood and build me some trays to go in here, so that we can put our sweet potatoes in here as we dig them to cure them. And once they're cured, then we'll decide what to do with them after that. Now we get 1 5-gallon bucket will fill one of these bread trays. These are a lot larger than those are, so I think we can get 2 5-gallon buckets of sweet potatoes in this. So this one system here, I probably will be able to store for curing about 20 5-gallon bucketfuls of potatoes in here at a time. Now that's a lot. That's a lot of potatoes. And I think that it's going to be beneficial for us to go that route. This is a new system that we're trying here. I think it's going to work out pretty good. Now, over on the other side, over here, we have this stainless steel system here. This came from a military base. Also, it's all stainless. Now this, you guys don't freak out on me here now. This here was originally designed to raise mice in. Now these mice were treated better than most people were treated. I mean, even the systems that I took off of all this was a water filtration system. Their water was filtered better than the water we drink today, and they had a little water nippler that stuck through the end right here, and the mice could come here and they get their water right here, and you slide the tray out, you could get the mice. But these were actually never used. These were new systems that the military had purchased to use, and then they decided to close that program down, and that's your tax dollars at work there for you. But we were able to secure not just one of these. I actually have another one of them that I'm going to put right here on this side right here. We'll move this out of the way. And the beauty of these things is, look, Ms. Wanda, she can come in here, she can store her lids in these. It works out really great. Her canning jar lids, these are the regular mouth. You go down below it down here, she has the largemouth ones in here, all stored in. I mean, this is ideal. She can keep, she got 2 canning jars up here. Now, guys, this right here, a lot of you's probably looking, going, "Boy, that's a lot of jars to have to fill up." Well, Let's take a walk over to our other side of our facility. Something I want to show you over there. Now this is our other part of our storage facility. We have the U-line rack systems in here. These we found are some of the better ones because they hold a whole lot more weight than the Walmart ones or the Amazon ones or anything like that. And these are a little bit more expensive, but they hold a lot more weight. We have some of our canned goods stuff here. Now this stuff is some of the older stuff. When we went through the cellar at Deep South, anything that was older than 2020, we sent with Mr. Chris to feed to the pigs and stuff like that. And he brought our jars back, and that helped us to empty out the old stock that we had that we really didn't eat much of. With some years, sometimes you have good years and you can hundreds of quarts of beans, and then other years you don't have any hardly, and the good years make up for the bad years. And we've got, you know, there's rice flour here that's been dry canned, and there's honey and dry beans, you know, red beans and all that's been canned there, field peas and stuff. But as you come around here, we still have our freeze dryer. We did not get rid of the freeze dryer. We kept it because it's on a U-line rack system that rolls around. Once we get the old house here set up a little bit better, this will be moved to the kitchen area so that Ms. Wanda can continue to do her freeze drying in the future. But right now, we don't really need to do any freeze drying because, I mean, we got these plastic totes here just stacked all in here. These are all full of freeze-dried food, and there's enough in there to last only God knows how long. So we haven't got rid of it. We're going to hang on to it. And then you come around, this one's got a few jars right there. And this is was my daddy's old cedar shift robe that he made. We actually went to a city, or a place in a city, and cut down the cedar trees where the old Copeland gang was hung at. And my dad took the lumber home, had it milled, and brought it home, and he made him a custom shift robe to hang his clothes in. Well, I have inherited this, so what we have done is we have turned this into our seed storage facility because it's all cedar. Insects do not go in there. And I've actually accumulated some cedar boards from Mr. Mickey at Hills Mill Homestead that I'm going to go in, and I'm going to put new shelves in it when I get a chance out of cedar also, so we can do a little bit more organizing in there. Right now, stuff's not organized like I'd really like for it to be. So we're going to try to get that taken care of in the near future. Now, we have another one of these storage rack systems here. Now, this is a pharmaceutical grade one here because it has this coating on it that is really made for pharmaceutical grade stuff. And it's made to hold a lot of weight also. Well, we have some canned stuff left over here that we did not have room in the camp house. In the camp house, we have 2 storage rooms in the camp house that we keep most of the foods in that we use on a daily basis in the jars. And then the other stuff is left up here. And when we call it going grocery shopping. When we go into one of our storage rooms at the camp house, Ms. Wanda goes in, and when she starts running low on, like yesterday, she was running low on sweet potatoes in jars. She came up here and got like 6 or 8 jars off of the shelf right here of sweet potatoes and took it back to replenish the storage shelves in the storage rooms in the camp house. And that's what this basically is for. If she's cooking a specific dish or something, say she needs some tomatoes, she come up here. If she don't have any down there, she'll come up to this storage facility, and she will get her some tomatoes from up here. Now, it's going to be like The Price is Right. Is it The Price is Right that you look behind the doors? What is that?
No.
What is that? The game show that used to be on.
I know, but I couldn't tell you.
Behind door.
What's behind door number 1?
What's behind door number 1 and what's behind door number 2? Well, guys, this is where the
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. This is where the magic happens right here behind. We got door number 1. We have door number 2. Behind door number 1, this is where all the magic takes place at. Let me show you something here, guys. Look at this. This is where we keep our jars for canning. You know, I mean,
some more jars for canning.
Some more, yes.
We have cleaned out a lot.
We've cleaned out a lot of jars from Deep South, and we've restocked, and
we're ready to can this year. We've taken a couple of years of...
We've actually taken a couple of years off, really, from doing
I've canned minimal in 2 years.
Yeah, in 2 years, we canned maybe
just enough
50
for,
jars of this or 40 jars of that, which usually we do hundreds, not just small amounts. And then door number 2 is also more canning jars just stacked in here.
This closet's full of empty canning jars.
Empty canning jars.
Ready to be filled. Now, will I fill all this year? No way.
There's no way. There's no way we'll do that. And plus, I mean, we have them up here. We have them over here. We got them down there, over yonder. And back in the room we just came from, we had some in there. In our opinion, you can't have too many jars. The issue is you got to make sure when we buy a case of jars, let me put it to you this way. When we buy a case of jars, we go ahead and buy 3 to 4 flats of lids for each case of jars we buy. That guarantees us for the next 3 to 4 years, we will be able to use those same jars to can with. If you will do that, when you buy a case of jars, just go ahead and buy you 3 or 4 flats of lids.
Boxes.
Or the little 12-pack boxes. The little 12-pack boxes. If you buy you 3 or 4 of them to go along with that flat of jars right here, for the next 3 to 4 or maybe even 5 years, you can and not have to be stressed out that you're not going to have any lids. I mean, that's how you get ahead. You don't just go buy this and then when it runs out, you run to the store and get a case of a little box of lids. That's foolishness. You know, I mean, wisdom says when you buy this, go ahead and buy you 2 or 3 of them little boxes of lids. Throw them up on storage. If you buy another box, don't use the 2 or 3 you just bought. Buy 2 or 3 more and get it for them. That way, you're way ahead of the game. We've had a couple of questions asked. I'd like to address one of them now. Lots of people are asking, when we were digging the potatoes the other day, we showed on the video, do we leave the potatoes, the vines, or the plants in the middle of the rows, or do we leave them in the garden? The answer to that is no. We actually pile them up in piles in the garden, and that's one of the sections of videos that we actually got lost. So what we do is we take the grapple tractor, and I come down the row, and wherever we piled them up at, I just take the grapple, and I go down through there, and I grab them all up, and then I take them off deep into the woods, and I just throw them off into the woods down there. Now, another thing that we've been people like to criticize us about is the fact that every time they turn around, there's a new tractor on our property. And guys, we invest into our food supply, and the best way to do it. Wanda and I, years and years and years ago, those potatoes piled up in the field, Wanda and I would reach and grab them with our arms full like this, and we would tote them all the way to the end of the row, and we'd pile them up, and then we'd go get an old raggedy lawnmower with a little old trailer you pull behind it, and we'd drive it out in the field in the heat of the day, and we'd be loading them things up in the trailer, and we'd take them off into the woods. We'd have to hand unload all of them. Now that we're older, we have determined that it's better for us to spend what money we make on equipment to do the jobs for us. Now, one of those tractors, yes, they're expensive. They're about $34,000. And everybody goes, that's a lot of money to spend on a tractor. Actually, no, it's not. Because I'm still driving the truck that I bought in 2006. You know, so you thought that truck is 19 years old. Now, sit back and think, that same truck today, now I haven't priced a new truck today, but I'm going off of what people are telling me. That new truck, which was a quad cab, big 4-wheel drive, big truck, that truck today would cost around $80,000 to $100,000. Now, you can spend $80,000 to $100,000 or $50,000 on a vehicle that in 5 years is usually the life of a vehicle, and before somebody wants to replace it, Or you can spend 30-something thousand on a tractor that's going to last the rest of my life, and then I'm going to go out there in the garden, and it's going to make my life 10 times easier. I'm going to be in and out of the garden in no time. And that truck's going to sit in the yard 99% of the time, because Wanda and I only go to town maybe once a week. And people, I was talking to somebody the other day, they was talking about the price of gasoline and how much their fuel bills was and all that kind of stuff. And they said, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? And I'm like, well, and it made me think. I said, well, you know, to be honest, Wanda and I only spend about $50 to $60 a month, you know, on gas, because we don't go nowhere. It's only 12 miles to town, or maybe 15, or maybe a little more. That's just once a week, and we do everything we need to do while we're right there in town. We come home, and I'm like, we probably spend more money in fuel for the tractors and the Rangers than we do for the actual vehicles we drive. So the vehicle would, if I spent $80,000 on a vehicle, it's going to sit in the driveway 99% of the time, and I'm going to be out here busting my butt in the field, picking up stuff by hand, lugging it along, walking and straining at my age. No, that's not even no wisdom in that. That's just, to me, that's total ignorance, you know. So that's why you see us doing what we do. You know, we invest in our future as far as our food supply is concerned. Now, as a young man, I didn't understand this, because my father would go and he would spend anywhere between $150,000 and $200,000 on a piece of equipment for the company that we owned. And I was always like, Dad, you're still driving this old pickup truck, and you just spent almost $200,000 on this piece of equipment. Why don't you go buy you a truck? You know, and he said, son, that truck just gets me from point A to point B. That new piece of equipment makes mine and your life a lot easier. It puts food on the table for us and money in our pocket. He said, no, the money goes to the equipment. He said, that old truck, he said, we'll drive it till we can't drive it no more, and then we'll make a decision about the future, you know. And now that I'm older, I kind of see some of the wisdom in that. You know, as a matter of fact, Wanda and I met an elderly gentleman the other day in town that I hadn't seen in probably 30 or 40 years, and he was talking about a millionaire friend of his that still drives just wore out cars around. And he said, I'm not going to spend my good money on this kind of, what a new car costs now. He said, that's ignorance. He says, I'm just going to buy me something to just get me to town and back, you know. And I thought, wow, even millionaires think like that. So that's why you see us with new equipment every so often. It's the simple fact we're older, makes our life easy, and I just think there's wisdom in it. Thank you guys from Pecan Grove.